Hey, good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. How are you? It is Wednesday, midweek. We are here. Let me tell you, it could be colder, but it's still cold. 31 right now. But the good news is we'll get to 58. Now, there's lots of discussion, and I'm seeing a lot bigger chance this time around of possibility of snow. Could it happen? It sure could. That's forecasted sometime next week, Monday to about Wednesday. Tuesday at this point showing our biggest chance of getting a little something. We'll go into the breakdown of this coming up here in just a little bit as we get into your weather forecast right around the corner. How do you feel? Winter is on. It's cold outside. I can't seem to get from my car to wherever I'm going fast enough. I'm out of breath by the time I get there. Let me in. Let me in.
Open the door before you get there?
Yeah. I need an automatic door opener. Has anybody ever gone out to get to their car and then realize they don't have your car keys and you've walked out in the cold for no reason and you have to go back? Done it a time or two. Up and coming, again, we'll check your forecast. We've got all the headlines that are shaping America this morning. As you slept, we've got what they are. We'll have those in just a minute. Right now, let's go on to Collinsville. Get that good word of the day sent out to the First Baptist.
10-year-old Lily loved exploring her grandmother's cozy old house. Now, one afternoon while her grandmother was napping, Lily ventured into the parlor, a room filled with treasures, including an exquisite porcelain vase that sat on a pedestal by the window. Now, Lily had always been told to admire that vase from a distance, but curiosity got the better of her that day. She tiptoed over and reached out to touch it, and as she turned the vase slightly to see the painted flowers, it wobbled and crashed to the floor, shattering into pieces. Now, panic surged through her. She quickly scooped up the broken shards, wrapped them in a towel, and hid them in the back of a closet. She swept up the remaining fragments and nervously rearranged the pedestal, hoping no one would notice. Now, how many of you have done that very same thing? Now, you might not have hidden shattered pieces of your granny's precious vase, but you did wrong and tried to hide it. There's something in the heart of every sinner that drives us to do just that. That's exactly what Adam and Eve did in the Garden of Eden after they sinned. They hid from God and sewed fig leaves to hide their nakedness. We're all tempted to hide things, but listen to the wisdom of Proverbs 28:13. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper. In other words, hiding our sin doesn't benefit us in the long run. But what does benefit us when we sin? Well, the proverb continues, but he who confesses and forsakes their sins will obtain mercy. So did you hear that? Confessing our sin and turning from our sin, that's where we can benefit because that's where mercy's found. The next day, Lily's grandmother noticed that empty pedestal. Where's my vase? She asked her. Well, Lily froze. She didn't know what to say, and so she decided to lie. I don't know. But her guilt began to gnaw at her, and later in the day, she came and said, Grandma, I have to tell you something. I broke your vase, and I'm so sorry. I tried to hide it because I was scared you'd be angry. Her grandmother's face softened and pulled Lily into a warm embrace. Oh, my dear, thank you for telling me. Listen, I'm not angry. I love you more than that vase. I wish you'd told me sooner. You've been carrying this all alone. Relieved, Lily hugged her grandmother tightly, realizing that the burden of guilt wasn't worth the pain of hiding her mistake. And together they cleaned out the closet and discarded the broken pieces. Beloved, don't hide your sin. Confess it. Repent of it. That's where mercy can be found. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Morning, 31 as we all begin this today. A cup of coffee, a smile, maybe an egg makes things better, doesn't it? I just can't work on an empty stomach. I get to thinking about food and I go off. Will it work again as we look at headlines shaping America? Seems like this was brought up once before. I don't think it went very far, but a recall is being talked about on Newsom in California for his handling of the wildfires. Will it happen? I'm not so sure. But it is being talk of it. We'll watch this story and see if anything becomes of it. Often we have seen newspapers, especially newspapers, endorse people for president political offices. It's usually just not good. I know on a local level, someone endorsed Hillary Clinton in a newspaper, and well, Subscriptions dropped and it didn't work out so well for them. LA Times now seeing regrets as they go, we made a mistake. The owner of it has spoke up and said, we endorsed the mayor, Karen Bass, who is, ultimately responsible for all these cutbacks for the fire department in L.A., and they are apologizing to readers for doing such. Give them a chance. They're learning from their mistakes. At least they apologize for what they felt has been done wrong. Here's something interesting about this as we look at the overall ages of who's going into the White House. Now, we all know that Trump is, about 78? Who do you surround yourself by? It's the first time since 1989, this would go back to the Bush days, of the youngest. His average age is going to be about 54 of those in charge. Now, he's got some 40s, and he's got one that's 60 doing something, but for the most part, the average age is 54. Again, that's the youngest since 1989 of a president going in office surrounding himself by those. 50 is a pretty good age. You've learned what works and what doesn't. Isn't that right, Odie?
That's about it.
That kind of sums it up. You know the do's and don'ts in life. Have you noticed eggs? We've talked about this before, but boy, it's getting bad. Egg prices soaring through the roof. Why? In the course of this bird flu, there's been about 20 million chickens that's been killed by it. 20 million. And that's why when you go to purchase your eggs, they're a little bit higher nowadays. A missing woman has been found deceased. Oh, that's just horrible. Fayette, North Carolina. They've been searching for her since January the 4th. She was last seen getting into a strange car and she was found deceased. That just breaks my heart. No arrests have been made yet, but she has been found. Family knows what the ending now anyway. Do you remember watching Friends? Was his name Ross, the one that ended up marrying? What was that girl's name?
I didn't watch it.
Friends, Ross, I'll call him, for short, I could only describe him as the big one, had the bigger head, the bigger guy there. How'd I do? As we often, as you get older, you think back on the jobs you had as a youngster, and he goes, well, I might have done something during an interview the other night. How would you like to be this guy and years later have to admit it on national television? Ross, who his real name is David Schumer, he got a part-time job at the time serving divorce papers. Guess who one of his people was? Rod Stewart. He said he just hadn't bumped into Rod and has never brought it up. Well, I'm sure by now Rod Stewart knows it. This would probably go back to the mid-'80s. I think Rod's been married 2 to 3 times, something like that. If you think I'm sexy and you want hot legs and what, Maggie May, of course, the big one there. Some other hits that Rod had, but Forever Young, that was big too. Rod Stewart, married at least 3 times. Tim Tebow, and y'all remember this now, coming February 7th to Meridian, Mississippi, Tim Tebow will be here with his entourage for this big thing to help children. And again, Central United Methodist Church is going to be taking place here. But Tim Tebow announcing that him and his wife are going to have a child. Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
He seems to be the real deal of being a Christian fella. We give a thumbs up to Tim Tebow and welcome him to Meridian. Again, that's coming February the 7th. Small town like ours, getting somebody like that to come and recognize us for what we do in our communities, that's good news. And if you're from out of town, come on down. We'll find out more about the event and how you can help out. They do a big deal with this, with children with disabilities is what this is about. Southwest Airlines pausing hiring. Well, they got cutbacks, so they're not hiring these more expensive jobs right now. And that's smart. That's the CEO that understands that you can't pay, y'all know where I'm going with that. They're watching expenses at this month. You can't help, I thought it would be kind of opposite of this, of people at the last second trying to jump across the border. As a last-ditch effort maybe is catch me if you can, but it's been the lowest since 2020 of people slipping in during the month of December. They know what's coming next month. Well, just in, what?
Few days.
4 days.
Yeah.
A big change coming to downtown Washington, D.C. We'll look for that. I don't know a lot about art. I know the Kincaid guy that was from Gatlinburg. I know Thomas Kincaid. That's Picasso. I've heard of him.
Yeah.
There's, and I don't know who painted that behind me. I don't know if that was Bob, the Happy Tree guy, or I really don't know a lot about it. I respect those that do real art, not stuff thrown against a wall with a garbage can that they say is art. I'm talking about real art.
You don't want the banana?
I don't want the $6 million banana. That's not me. I like, if it's a house, I can tell it's a house. If it's a human being, I can tell who it is and the characteristics of their face. If it's a tree, I want to see the bark. I want to see the dirt. I want to see, well, real life things. That's my idea of art. But boy, as we look at these fires, we don't know what all has been lost. As we look to L.A., artwork destroyed. And I'm assuming, and I looked the guy up, and after I looked it up, I still don't know a whole lot. A guy named Andy Warthol, he had something to do with the painting with Campbell's soup. There's been a lot of his art that was lost to that fire. And again, I'm not sure if he was something great. He dressed a little differently than I do. He didn't wear your traditional, well, he was, I guess when you're in art, sometimes they think different. But a lot of his stuff was destroyed. Sad there for things to be lost at. Elon Musk, we're learning, is getting a desk. No, I'm not kidding. Up in the White House. He will have him a desk that he can go to when he needs to sit. Pretty neat there. We'll see what becomes of that. We go to North Carolina, and we often see this during the winter months that, well, deceased people are found. We have 2 duck hunters who have found a body. They're not giving us much more information than this other than their human remains that were found Monday afternoon, 5:49 near Taylorsville, North Carolina. If you've lost a loved one, have someone missing from that area, speak with police in that area of North Carolina. We just don't know what to think at this point. I can't even talk about that one, Odie. There's some stories that just aren't worth repeating, and we got to move on that one. All right, what I know now, Texas, Florida, Alabama, and now the Speaker of the House has raised the flags for January the 20th. Is what is happening as they defy Biden's orders of half staff. They'll be flying at full staff in most places for the presidential inauguration as we've celebrated the life of Jimmy Carter at half-mast for the last month. Some will, some won't. If you see one flying at full staff, that's the reason why. Tonight, be ready, it will be your farewell speech. I know there's so many people who've been waiting with bated breath to find out what the final words. Get some ice cream, Odie. Yeah. We need to do this in style. Not popcorn, get ice cream to watch this as Biden will give us his farewell speech. Now again, he is the President of the United States. I'm not making fun of the office because we should honor the office of the President of the United States. He will give his last speech tonight. I believe it will be 8 p.m. Eastern, so that should put it at 7 p.m. Central Time across the southern states. If you'd like to hear what he has to say, will it be rehearsed? Will it be from the cuff? We'll find out as he makes his last speech there from the White House. This is pretty neat. As we've often seen, Donald Trump, 45th President of the United States, getting ready to be sworn in as number 47 once again, loves Diet Coke. The man is ate up with it. You'll see him with a McDonald's bag, and you'll see him with a Coca Diet Coke. They have made the very first, and he just got it. It was delivered to the White House, or where Mar-a-Lago is where it was delivered. A commemorative Diet Coke bottle. You know, the glass bottles. Let me show this. This was put on Twitter. Let me show you a picture of what this looks like. There's the bottle, the inauguration there, and it's being presented to him by the president of Coca-Cola. Pretty neat there. That will most likely end up in a presidential library at some point, is what I figure there. Pretty neat for Coca-Cola to do that. What a great American company. I mean, really, they brought us the image of Santa Claus as we know it. It started back in that. The paws. And boy, and you know, Odie, you go back and you look at this during the war times of how Coca-Cola and all the ads supported our troops through the years during World War I, World War II. And I've got a few of them. And then, as you said, the polar bear came along. And, of course, from high on that mountain, it was, I'd like to teach the world to sing in harmony. It's a great American company, and we like that. Please don't tell me it's been sold and I didn't know it.
I hope not.
It's American. And I hope I say this, Hegseth, Pete, the guy that was from Fox News. Boy, he's not your normal guy that you sit in a chair. Have y'all watched any of this stuff? He can give it back just as they give it to him. He made a comment yesterday. He said if a soldier loses his rifle in battle, he'll have the book thrown at him. But if the general loses the war in this administration, he gets a promotion. Pretty strong words, wasn't it? I thought so. And all indications are he is going to be approved. We'll see how this goes. It's going to be a different law dog in town as our defense takes a different stance on what happens across these nations. It'll be somebody it looks like with some common sense. We'll see what becomes of it. I do think it looks as though he's going to get approved with this. Iran going, whoa, wait a minute, y'all. That wasn't us. What was that song you used to sing? Wasn't me?
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Iran said, we had nothing to do with no assassination attempt. Wasn't us. And trust me, I'd be saying that with 4 days to go also. Nope. I was over here. I got a witness where I was. We'll see what becomes of that also. They're kind of scared over what goes down. The J6, let me word it this way. The J6 committee, this may be in the last hour, are all wanting pardons quickly for their role in what happened. Mississippi, along with, what's that old girl's name that was on there? Oh, the blonde-headed girl, Liz Cheney. Will she be pardoned for whatever? We'll see. That seems to be the talk around Washington, is they would like that pardon before Biden leaves office.
Don't you have to be charged with something to be pardoned?
I would think you'd have to be charged, but they're wanting unconditional for crimes that you may or may not do against the United States in the future. That means you could do anything, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be right.
Supreme Court, here we come.
We'll see how that stands up. And as we've watched this, sometimes you'll see that someone resigned. 99% of the time, it's not because they wanted to resign. MSNBC, ratings are, in the toilet. There's no other way to word it, is it? Even that show, that Joe guy and his wife that's on there, their ratings are pretty horrible. The president of it, the senior vice president in charge of programming that handles things, has stepped down. Again, it's not because she wants to go crochet. It's because ratings are, they're in the tank. You have to tell it the way it really is. A third person has stepped forward from Indiana, a former basketball player, and said, the doctor tried to sexually abuse me too. Things aren't looking good for him. What college was it years ago to where that the basketball coach, it was a big guy, had been doing that for years, and I can't, Duke University? I don't know if that's who it was or not, but it was some big university to where a coach had done some naughty things to players through the years and was finally caught. It probably happened there too. Olympics, it happens a lot because it's one-on-one. But this guy had just done a lot to players through the years. Just awful. Debbie, good morning, all the way from Quitman, Mississippi. Los Angeles, I like to see this. As we see people that reach out, we do it a lot here in the South, California doing that. It almost looks like a garage sale to where people have donated clothes. It's piled up for miles, huge parking lots for people to come get them clothes that no longer have anything to wear. Isn't that great? It's what we should do, and I'm glad California is doing that to help their brother. That makes me feel good about everything there. It does, it really does. Colorado, and how things get out of hand. You never know when you're a police officer. I was not there. I don't know what happened, but a woman was accidentally shot 2 years ago. They were in pursuit of a shoplifter. Somehow or another, the gun went off and an innocent person was killed. The city has settled with her family for $2 million. $2 million is not going to bring her back. That's just one of those sad things all the way around. We wish that things like that didn't happen, but they do. It's just one of those things. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people were picking on them, but they couldn't be happier. They're out there somewhere doing this right now because people know who they are again. You might say that they fell off the face of the earth for the last 30 years. Now, I'm talking about the YMCA guys, the Village People. They're going to be performing all over town. Their song has skyrocketed. The downloads are getting it daily, and they're actually making money again. All because the president done that little thing there. At first, you'll remember when all that started some years ago, they said, don't use our stuff. Well, that got changed when they started seeing what America wanted. So good luck to them as they go out and do the cowboy and the Indian and the policeman, and they also had a construction worker. Now, they may have had some different views than I did, but that's okay. It's what America goes around. It makes it all work. That's a few of the headlines that are shaping America this morning as we look at everything. We're going to look at that weather. Just look. And you're right, James. It was Notre Dame, the football coach there, the assistant football coach. Thank you for reminding me of that. I just couldn't remember who it was. We'll be right back with the weather. Let's face it, accidents are going to happen. If a deer jumps out in front of your car, go see my friends and professionals at Chet's Paint and Body Shop in Center Hill. Chet can help you navigate through this confusing world of insurance by providing photo estimates to insurance companies and the right to choose the body shop of your choice. From a minor scratch to a major collision, Chet has you covered. Chet offers quality repairs by trained and certified technicians with a lifetime warranty on all repairs. That's Chet's Paint and Body Shop.
We welcome you to a new vehicle buying experience here at Doc's Toyota. Buying a new vehicle doesn't have to be stressful, but don't just take our word for it.
This was the best experience I've ever had buying a vehicle.
Doc's employees are top-notch.
I drove 2 hours, not once, but twice, to purchase 2 vehicles with a 5-month time frame.
Doc's delivers competitive pricing, a comprehensive selection, and flexible financing options, helping you get on the road from Carthage, Meridian, and beyond. There's a reason why there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
Welcome back as we get into our forecast now, brought to you by the good folks at EMEPA. Our record highs back in 1947, high of 81 today. 64, many a man remembers this day was 10 degrees back in 64. Chilly as we look to today, 58 for a high. It's going to be nice. Partly cloudy in the beginning, by sunshine by this afternoon. You'll enjoy yourself. Pretty much the same across Bama, 57 through Demopolis, all the way up to Birmingham, 53. And if you keep going up 20 there, you'll finally hit Gadsden at 21. Dangerous cold weather is expected. Again, this is going to come in somewhere around Sunday night and will travel along through about Wednesday of being extremely cold. Let's take a look at our highs and lows of what we've got going on with this, because it's going to be, as you'll see here, cold weather there. Now, here's what we've got this week as we get into all of this. 57 for today, 32 tonight, 32 tomorrow night as we look at this. As we come along and we keep looking here, 62 for a high on Friday. By Saturday, we'll reach 67, and that's about when the change starts coming. By Sunday, we'll hit a high of only 45, down to 24. Look at this on Monday. We'll get down to 34 with a low of 19. And as we look at this detailed forecast, let me just show you what we think is going to happen here. Monday night, we have a 20% chance of snow. You could get a flur or two in that. Tuesday, we increase to a 50% chance of snow. There is a probability that during this course through Tuesday night, we could get up to 1 inch of snow. Can y'all believe that? Now, I'm really leaning toward this time stating that we might get a little snow out of this. It is possible. I wouldn't touch it last time. I didn't trust it. But this time, we're starting to see this. Look at that. Wednesday, some AM showers still, of snow showers still on Wednesday. A little bit there. And I'm going to give that somewhere around a 30% chance the early morning hours on the 22nd. Let's keep our fingers crossed. It would be good to get our snow for the year. Then we start warming up. We're back to Thursday with a high of 47, 49, and so on as the weather starts to warm up. Not bad at all there. Fishing, let's talk about it today. It looks like it's going to be great. Looks like 140 this afternoon, about 2 o'clock to about 4 o'clock. There in the afternoon should be great for fishing. Sunset happens at 5:12, and as we look at best times to hunt today, it looks like 1 p.m. to 3 o'clock is your best time to hunt. Get out there. It's better today as we look at this. Sunrise happens at 6:56, 1 minute from now, and then sunset this afternoon at 5:12. Now, that's a quick look at your weather and everything. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. Hang tight. We got to make coffee. The most important thing of the day. We're going to run over to the coffee machine, and we'll be back live in just a moment. Join us, won't you, for the morning show.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.